To say the excitement in the Kremlin is palpable is an understatement. The United States is at its most vulnerable. Fighting in three countries, Iraq, Afghanistan, and Syria, with other borderline conflicts still existing or starting in Libya, the Crimea, Israel, and Iran, America's soldiers are spread thin, and all we have to do is cut the supply lines that keeps the conflicts evolving. While at the same time there are countries in Africa where Ebola is spreading, but instead of having a viable medical response, they send doctors to watch the dead pile up. But if they become affected, they are sent home to receive quality care. The arrogant Americans don't even realize that their feeble attempt at charity only hides a country that has lost its moral compass. To add to America's woes is the perceived climate change that will only affect their way of life and not ours, or the racial strife that has suddenly made America less than equal to us. And America's first black president is the most responsible for throwing his country's freedoms under the bus. Democracy, for all intents and purposes, has fallen at the wayside. How do you accomplish an attack, though, without putting your whole military in jeopardy? It is easy. You look at history to calibrate your plans. And one of the special times for the Russian government was when 6 of their submarines set off the shores of Southern California, with Los Angeles as one of their targets during the first years of the Reagan administration. But as big a threat to our national security that those ballistic missile carrying underwater craft posed, it was simply a submerged roadblock to peace. President Reagan wasn't going to back down, wasn't going to die as a result of nuclear war, and the intentions of both sides at the moment was not to bluff. American and Russian lives were being held in the hands of the crazies. How the confrontation fared was simple. They just maintained the status quo. So Russia learned its lesson that as long as American leaders have their holes in the grounds to hide for safety, they do not care how many other Americans have to die. In fact, the first George Bush set the survival rate at 5%. In other words, the tennis and golf crowds lived while everyone else dies. Hiding in catacombs is nothing new. Russia has their alternate government controlling capital in Novosibirsk. So regardless of who wins and who loses, it will be the little guys that are the ones punished. How then do we punish a country without killing its populace that will conform to our ideals, while unintentionally allowing the useless rich to survive? This attack has to be coordinated down to the last second, and the only target mandated has to be Washington, D.C. itself. And it has to take place on a middle of the week workday with all personnel at their work positions. How many missiles will be deployed? One more than enough. What's ironic about the state of affairs between Russia and America today is that the president of the Ukraine was democratically elected by a majority of the people. It was only a small minority of protesters who put this man out of business and set the stage for war.